you doing? My name is Chris Lemp. I'm from the Dynamic Drum School, and today we're going to learn part 2 of the quarter note drum beat series. Last time we learned how to play the quarter note drum beat, so if you haven't seen that video, be sure to watch that first. There's a link in the description. Today we're learning part 2, which is adding a crash cymbal, and it sounds like this. As you can see, adding a crash cymbal is really fun. It's really exciting. And some of the reasons why you might add a crash are maybe you'd add it at the beginning of the song, maybe at the beginning of a verse, beginning of a chorus. It's basically a great way to outline the different sections of a song. So, but first, just in case you don't know what a measure is, let's just go over that quickly. So basically, we've been playing and counting up to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is actually one measure. And then when we start over, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's a second measure. So if we did it on just the snare drum, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's one measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now let's try adding the crash cymbal at the beginning of the beat. So on count 1, we're going to hit crash cymbal and bass, 1, and the rest of it will be the same. We're going to bring our hands down to the hi-hat and snare on 2, hi-hat and bass on 3, back to hi-hat and snare on B4. So everything is the same. Just to review the old beat, we went 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're just moving up the 1, moving our hand up onto the crash. So 1, then down to the hi-hat and snare, hi-hat and bass, hi-hat and snare. Let's try that again. Bass and crash on 1, hi-hat and snare, 2, hi-hat and bass on 3, and then hi-hat and snare on 4. So just like I talked about in the other video, don't worry so much about the tempo yet. If you really need to pause in between each hit, that's going to really be helpful for you. So hi-hat and bass, if you need to pause and say, okay, beat 2, hi-hat and snare, pause, hi-hat and bass, and then hi-hat and snare back on B4. And then pause, crash, 2, 3, 4. Now let's try practicing it with me. We're going to hit the crash at the beginning of every measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. So now that you can play the quarter note beat and the crash cymbal, it's great to start practicing in 4-measure phrases. And the reason to do that is most rock and pop music is broken down into 4-measure phrases. So a great exercise to practice counting to keep track of where you are in the measure is you just replace the first count with the number of that measure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Great, so now that you know how to count in the 4 measures, let's add the crash cymbal on the first measure, and then the second, third, and fourth measure, we're just going to play the hi-hat. So let me show you what I mean. 1, 2, 3, 4. Second measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. Third measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the fourth measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you start over. 1, 2, 3, second measure, 3, 4, third measure, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you feel comfortable with that, let's make a little exercise of it, practicing it with me, hitting the crash on the first measure and then sticking to the regular beat for the second, third, and fourth measure. Let's practice it with me at 80 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3, 4. 1. So great job adding the crash cymbal on beat 1. Now another fun thing to try is moving your hand to different sound sources. So what I mean is, instead of just playing the beat on the hi-hat, try maybe it on the ride cymbal. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe on the floor tom. Maybe on the small tom. Or the crash cymbal. If you have a cowbell, it's always fun on the cowbell. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or a rim, all the rims sound a little bit different, maybe on the floor tom rim. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's a great exercise is then to try to play the crash, and then instead of the hi-hat, pick a different sound source. Let's try maybe the crash to the ride cymbal. 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Maybe the floor tom. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great job. So now you know how to play the quarter note drum beat. You know how to add a crash cymbal. You know how to play it in 4 measure phrases. And you know how to move your hand around to different sound sources. So keep practicing that. And in the next video series, in part 3, we're going to add a quarter note drum fill on the snare, and we're going to add a quarter note drum fill around the toms. We're also going to add a variation of the same beat with the bass drum. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you in the next video in part 3. Thanks a lot.